We know what's going to happen every year, that there's going to be a team that did not make the playoffs last year that will make the playoffs this
my
year.
favorite
And Chris,
right
this
here.
is your favorite. So maybe, Chris, why don't you start this one off? Because like we've talked about some of these teams. We've talked about the Bengals. They're the clear, easy, obvious answer right now for the team that was left out of the dance last year to make it. And they are the favorite right now. They're minus 260, best odds right now of the teams that did not make it. But as you can see, we do have, according to DraftKings right now, 4 teams who did not make the playoffs last year who are favored to get in. You got the Bengals, you got the Falcons, you got the Jets, and you got the Bears.
Yeah, this is the one. I'm a novice, right? I'm not in these guys' class as far as gambling or where to go or anything. This is the one every year, though, that I always look at Drew and Jay and I go, I was telling people on the pod, watch out for this team back in May. I wish I would have put a little money on it, right? And get into that conversation. So, that's the one that excites me, that I feel like I would want to bet, right? And I honestly think I'm getting to the point in my life where I might start doing some of this. But before I talk, I want to hear you guys first.
Right,
I want to hear Drew first and where he thinks here.
So all 7 of these teams, I don't have a strong exception of them making the playoffs. I'm a little cooler on the Chargers than the market.
Yeah.
But you got to make some decisions on the likes of the Bengals, Falcons, and Jets, in my opinion. Where do you want to lay this price this time of year, or do you just want to bet them to win their division? I think all of the AFC South teams to me look very good.
Right.
Jaguars, Colts, clearly in the mix to get a wild card,
right?
If not, I topple Houston for the South. And so because that's that top of that division is crowded, taking a bet to win to make the playoffs, kind of insulates you from just missing out on a division title, but still getting in as a wild card. Whereas with the Jets and the Falcons, you're almost certainly better off just betting to win division, in my opinion, because there is a little bit of a gap between those teams and the rest of the contenders in their division. Bengals, similarly, like it's perceived as a little bit of a cluster at the top because the Ravens won last year, but I have the Bengals rated as the best team in that division, and I would take them to win the North over laying a price like minus 240. The kind of the real weird ones that I think are worth a little bit of a longer shot price. I mentioned before the Cardinals. I think the Cardinals could surprise and pick up a wild card in the NFC.
I don't disagree with you there.
3-1-ish to make the playoffs is a fun bet for them.
We saw great coaching and they improved their roster. So I hear you. Arizona would be in my short list. I'm with you there. Go ahead.
And then the Commanders, who, again, like I don't think they're in any way a chance of getting in as a wild card, but could steal a week or just an off year in the NFC East. And at that price, you got to think hard. Do I want 10-1 for the Commanders to win the East, or would I rather have more like a 20-1 on a Dan Quinn Coach of the Year? And that's where I lean towards Coach of the Year for him.
Yep. Another one I'd throw out.
Yeah, please do.
And look, some of these teams, like the Bengals, obviously very likely to make the playoffs.
Yeah, right.
Teams like the Jets, who are so high variance, I don't feel great about betting the Jets at minus 160 to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like if you believe in the Jets, I'd rather just bet on them at plus 1,300 to win the AFC because that kind of rides more of the upside and variance. One team that's interesting to me, the Vikings are plus 300 to make the playoffs. They're your team. Yeah. This team last year was 7-6,
right?
And then they just melted. But they spotted like 50 different quarterbacks. Justin Jefferson missed half the year. They were dealing with injuries. They're extremely well coached, both on offense and defense.
100.
They have talent. And the good thing with the Vikings is that, the quarterback situation, it's not stable. We don't really know. But they have 2 cracks at it, right? Like maybe McCarthy is good. And if he's not good and he's not playable, then Sam Darnold, I think, can be fine enough with the weapons that he has around him.
Better than any of the guys they had playing last year, not named Kirk Cousins.
I mean, what was going on last year with like Nick Mullins? It was an adventure. The last month of the season,
it's
no one had
400
any
yards,
idea.
but maybe 9 interceptions to go along with it.
No one had any idea where the ball was going with Mullins. And then like Jaron Hall was starting like key games in prime time against the Packers at the end of the year. He wasn't ready. I don't know why they didn't start Josh Dobbs towards the end of the season with how kind of flawed Mullins and Hall were looking. And I know he had the 3-0 game against the Raiders, but still, I mean, that situation was a mess. So Darnold should be better than that. McCarthy has upside. They expect a healthy year from Justin Jefferson. You still have a good offensive line, and you have an incredibly well-coached defense. Like that team, I don't think they're going to win the division because I think the Lions and the Packers are better, but could they sneak into a wild card? I think absolutely.
Yeah, that was my team, right? I mean, the Bears have been my team throughout this, but obviously the betting public thinks the Bears are going to be...
Yeah, it's a little bit like the Bears are minus 120 to make the playoffs. I think that they're... it's weird because I think their offense is actually going to be better than their defense, because
Right.
their defense last year was extremely dependent on turnovers, which regress year to year. The other thing with the Bears, too, is that people are building up Montez Sweat like he's Myles Garrett.
Yeah,
Montez
right.
Sweat's great.
Right.
He's not Myles Garrett.
No,
He's not Micah
not that.
Parsons. He's not
Right.
going to revolutionize your defense. It's
Yeah.
just that he's a lot better than what they had previously.
Right. Their D, though, I think you do. I will say, I think you watch out for it. I think
Okay.
it is
You think it
real.
better?
I do think it's real. But again, hey, we know it's rookie quarterback, and there's a lot that goes there. You're right about that. I'm surprised that people think it's such a
I know,
for sure
it's
thing.
more than 50%.
Yeah, I mean,
according to
that's
the
kind of
odds.
shocking.
Yeah.
The Minnesota thing, I do want to piggyback off on you, because I think you made the right points. I mean, first off, these two guys, either one, whoever plays, they can play quarterback, and we know what this guy can do with quarterback. They're going to make offense work. He'll manage McCarthy the right way if he's got to play J.J. McCarthy. And J.J. McCarthy, as we talked about, one of the beauties of him coming out of Michigan is he's been playing pro football, basically, with that offense and the way they play. And then they've added to their team.
Yep.
They had a really great free agency. They did pretty good in the draft, right? The defense wasn't super talented, and they've added a lot of players to the unit. And, of course, like Jay said, it's not only O'Connell on the offensive side of the ball and what he does coaching, but Brian Flores is one of the best defensive minds in the game. They would be a one where, I wouldn't want to bet him to win the division, but I could certainly see him making the playoffs.
They have guys who I think go a little bit under the radar, like Jonathan Grenard.
Exactly
he's
right.
not a big name. He was awesome last year.
Exactly.
Andrew Van Ginkel was really
Right,
good
a really
last year.
good
No
player.
one, not many average football fan could pick him out on the street type
Right.
of thing. So I think that the defense is a little bit underrated, and Flores is so good that that side of the ball should be solid, and then they have upside on offense.
Yo, what's up? Thanks for watching, homies. You know it's the off season, but there's no off season with Chris Simms Unbuttoned. It's the NFL. It goes all year around, all right? So hit subscribe, please, to hear my thoughts on your favorite team, your favorite quarterback, and, hey, how this season might unfold as we get ready for the 2024 season. We got a better picture, clearer look now that the draft is over, free agency. We know who's playing quarterback for certain teams. So, again, thanks for watching, and remember to subscribe. Peace out, homies. Check you out soon.